I broke into a serial killer's house and found something I can't explain inside. Serial killers have always fascinated me, but after what I just found, I now know the horrifying reason behind their actions. I've been uploading YouTube videos researching mass murderers for a few years now, and I decided the only way to step up my content would be to investigate their actual homes. So I made a plan with my girlfriend to visit the small town of Stanwyck, where Clay Fowler, also known as the Stanwyck Slayer, once lived before being locked up for life. After doing some research, we found a block of just 4 apartments, one of which was where the police found remains of his victims, with their remains scattered across the room as pieces of flesh and organs, specifically the flesh of children. This case really made my blood boil. How could a human even be that disgusting? But that's what fueled my desire to learn more and share the information with the internet. I just never could have realized that visiting would be the biggest mistake I'd ever make. As we pulled up to the apartment, woods of tall trees and spiraling ivy were on all sides of the 2-story overgrown building. I did find it somewhat strange that there were 0 cars around. I would have thought there would be some other urban explorers here, or just people using it as a free parking spot, but we thought nothing of it at the time. Holding hands, Amy and I walked toward the building, ready for inspection with our camera and notes in our hands. Amy took a pic of the door. She flashed me a smile. "You ready?" "Yeah," I replied. Cautious, I reached toward the door, then hesitated. Even in the daylight, trespassing always got me nervous. I stole a look around us, even though I knew not a soul was around. At least, that's what I thought. To our surprise, the doorknob moved with effortless precision. One smooth turn and Amy let it creak open, almost as if it was still being used. "Well, that was easy," I commented. Grinning, Amy snapped a photo of me. I couldn't help but smirk obliviously. Most of the apartment was a big living room. There was an old torn couch, a few blankets strewn about, even a bulky TV. No flesh was on any of this, of course. Expecting a cold cave, I was surprised by the room's cozy warmth. Surely someone wasn't still heating this place, but I could still feel the isolation here. Even in the city limits, it was a lonely place. Maybe Fowler being stuck in here was the final push toward his killing spree. Amy pointed toward the walls. They were painted a blood-red color rather than blue. "I guess they painted it that in case they missed anything," she joked. Smiling, I nodded. Wouldn't surprise me. Like an intense reporter, Amy took countless photos, and I did my best to type up notes on my phone. "Hey, check that out," she said. Intrigued, I followed her over to the shelf. On top of it stood 2 modest picture frames. Through the cracked glass, each frame showed a lesbian couple in their mid-30s, attractive but clearly lower class. Grungy clothes and hairstyles, countless piercings. The taller one was a white girl with green eyes and long blonde hair, the other an African-American with a sexy faux hawk. "Who are they?" Amy asked. "Probably the last renters," I said. Amy took closer shots of both pics. We proceeded down a hallway which had multiple doors. I grabbed the doorknob and tried twisting, but it wouldn't budge. Weird, but at first I just assumed it was jammed. That was until I tried opening the next door. Both doors were locked tight. Annoyed, I pounded on the hard door. The hits hurt me more than anything, like I was banging on concrete. Chuckling, Amy pulled me back. "Nice try, doofus." I confronted the door, frustrated I couldn't see what secrets lied behind it. "I think there's a window out back," Amy said. With the sudden fright of a blaring police siren, the front door swung open. "What the hell?" I exclaimed. Amy and I turned to see a couple enter from the dark night. 2 laughing females, their drunken laughter reminiscent of hyenas. I felt Amy's nervous hand grab my shoulder. Full of dread, I wrapped my arm around her and pulled her in close. There we stood in the dark like uneasy soldiers. One quick flick, and the living room lights cut on. Loud humming bulbs illuminated the apartment like a clinical lab. The 2 girls were the lesbian couple from the photos, the strange couple. In addition to the piercings, they wore punk clothing, ripped jeans and t-shirts, tight black leather jackets. The faux hawk girl carried 2 large brown grocery bags, overfilled bags, like an all-American family's shopping spree gone mad. Still chuckling, the blonde woman stumbled over toward the kitchen. Neither woman had seen us yet. My mind was at a panicked blank. What the hell were we gonna do? Apparently Amy had an idea. Stepping away from me, Amy approached the 2 women. "I'm sorry," Amy said, her voice apologetic yet strong. I followed after her. Yeah, I felt weird, but I wasn't gonna let my GF go alone. Surprised, the faux hawk girl flashed us an amused smile. "Oh, hi there." She placed the grocery bags on the couch. I heard the fridge opening in the kitchen, the sound of drinks and food being pushed around. Together, Amy and I stopped in the living room, awkward as always, like we'd crashed an upscale party rather than just broken into a shitty apartment. "Crap, we're so sorry," Amy went on, doing her best to suppress her unease. "We didn't know anyone lived here." Holding a can of Coke, the tall blonde stopped next to her girlfriend. A wicked smile dominated the blonde's haggard face. "Well, look what the cat drug in." "I know," her girlfriend said. "We've got visitors. Pretty ones too." The blonde took a long sip, savoring the cheap booze. The couple's smiles were confident but warm, like proud hostesses. Keeping her cool, Amy took a calm step toward them. "I'm sorry. We came here because we heard this was where the Stanwyck Slayer lived." The blonde's bright eyes lit up. "Oh, Clay Fowler, right?" "Yes." Gathering my nerves, I stopped next to Amy. "Yeah, this was his apartment, right?" I asked. "Oh yeah," the blonde went on. She took another compulsive sip like it was a dose of prescribed medicine. "Mrs. Barrymore warned us about it when we moved in." "Our landlord," Faux Hawk chimed in. Amy and I released nervous chuckles. Warned y'all? I joked like an anxious comedian. I stole a glance around the room. He's not still here, is he? The blonde laughed. No, not at all, man. That guy has been gone. Did she know him? Grinning, her girlfriend motioned toward Amy's camera. What's that for? Y'all trying to do an interview? The blonde teased. Hiding her nerves better than I ever could, Amy held up the camera. We were just taking pictures. Honestly, we really thought this place was abandoned. Yeah, I added. We're trying to explore the houses of different famous serial killers. Excited, her girlfriend hit her shoulder. That's so cool, she said suspiciously. Well, we should probably leave, Amy said as we walked towards the door. I'm sorry about all this. But the couple didn't budge. Like a human blockade, they stayed in front of the doorway. Fauxhawk's curious eyes stayed focused on us. Fowler was the one who killed all the black kids, right? With a fillet knife or something? Yeah, he's terrible, I said. Like a mob boss, the blonde took another cool sip. So why are y'all so interested in him then? I felt the couple's stares pierce into us like daggers. It's for his new project, a book about serial killers, Amy added. Smiles cracked through the couple's stoic facades. Oh, how cute, the blonde teased. With forceful energy, Amy pulled me toward the door. Well, it was nice meeting y'all, Amy said to the couple. Oh yeah, you too, Chris replied. Unlike the blonde, Chris stepped out of the way, just enough space for us to clear out of apartment B. Amy and I stepped out into the furious cold. Desperate to stay warm, I hugged Amy close. Well, that was fun. A little too exciting, Amy said with a laugh. Together, we started walking back to my Toyota. The howling breeze kept hitting us in waves. Amy jammed her hands in her hoodie pockets, camera included. I guess I'll have to do more research next time, I said. My eyes drifted over toward one of the apartment's many windows. Nah, that's my bad, Amy said. Not saying a word, I came to a horrified stop. The combination of the cold and my own extreme fear cemented me in place. Startled, Amy looked at me. Michael, but I couldn't answer. My eyes were captivated by the sight inside the apartment. Through the windows, I could see the lesbian couple empty the grocery bags onto the couch like open Christmas presents. Right on the sofa fell a grisly collection, blood-red gifts, severed human limbs and pulpy organs. The two women looked excited and thrilled, like bank robbers evaluating their stolen loot. Only this was stolen, slaughtered lives. I felt Amy's terrified hand snatch my arm, her grip colder than the December air. Then when Chris and the blonde both looked up at us, their eyes looked colder than death. My soul became twisted in knots, especially once the couple gave Amy and I those wicked smiles. The two of them looked so happy. Even with the scattered gore all over their bodies and drenched across the ugly sofa, they had the enthusiastic spirit of Clay Fowler. Come on, the frightened Amy yelled through the cold. I felt her yank my arm out of its socket, but it was the wake-up call I needed. Snapping out of my frozen fear, I followed Amy toward the Toyota, all the way through the slicing cool air. The door to the apartment building burst open like gunfire through the quiet night. Scared, I turned and saw the couple run after us. Each of them held a long fillet knife, just like Clay Fowler's weapon of choice. The couple's smiles looked more vicious than those long blades, too. Keep going, Amy demanded. Amy's grip tightened on my arm, cutting off whatever blood flow the cold hadn't zapped from me yet. As we passed apartment A, the second apartment building, I stole a look at the windows. Through the cold air erupting from my lips, I saw a similarly horrific scene like the one I saw in apartment B. A middle-aged white couple spread out on the living room floor, presumably the landlords, the Barrymores. Naked and laughing, they splashed around on the carpet, a carpet drenched in buckets of blood, as if the couple were making grisly snow angels. Like a persistent cab driver, Amy wouldn't let me stop for too long. Not that I wanted to, not when I could hear the lesbian couple get closer and closer, or when Mr. Barrymore's wild gaze made direct eye contact with my frightened eyes. Finally, we reached the Toyota. Amy shoved me toward the passenger seat. I felt the cold window hit my hands. Honestly, I was shocked my hands didn't explode like busted ice upon impact. Amy hopped in behind the wheel. Get in, she yelled. I saw crazed couples running down the metal stairway. Their loud, clanging footsteps sounded like a robotic army. Their frenetic movement made the staircase tremble in the wind. All of them were armed with the fillet knives. All of them glowered right at us. Breathing heavy, Amy drove off with a furious mash on the pedal, and she never looked back. I suppose I shouldn't have either, but I couldn't help myself. Like a trembling child, my wide eyes looked back at all the bizarre residents. They gave chase down the street, and then finally, they dropped out of sight. We were finally out of their collective crosshairs. Amy and I were safe. We made one stop at a local gas station. There, Amy called the Stanwyck police and told them about Sunnyside. She begged them to go out there as soon as possible. On the phone, they tried to calm her down, told her that she was lying, and hung up. There's something much darker going on than we could have ever imagined.